Okay, I never thought that I'd be saying this, but this ultra soft, super easy zucchini cake is one of the best cakes I've had. It's packed with freshly grated zucchini that you'd never know was in there, a good touch of cinnamon and walnuts to add extra crunch. It's then topped with a tangy cream cheese frosting that pairs perfectly with every bite. So to start off, you want to preheat your oven to 180°C or 350°F conventional and lightly grease the bottom and sides of a 9 by 13 inch cake pan, and then you also want to line the pan long ways with some parchment paper. You want to leave some of that parchment paper hanging over the edges. It just makes it so much easier to take the cake out once it's done. Set your cake tin aside for now, and next we're going to sift together our dry ingredients. So I've got 210 grams or 1 3/4 cups of plain all-purpose flour, 30 grams or 1/4 cup of cornstarch, 3/4 teaspoon of baking soda, 1.5 teaspoons of baking powder, 1/2 teaspoon of salt, 2.5 teaspoons of ground cinnamon, and 1/4 teaspoon of ground nutmeg. Give that a good mix with a whisk until it's well combined and set it aside for now. Next, in a large bowl, you want to add in 300 grams or 1.5 cups of soft light brown sugar, 2 large room temperature eggs, 120 grams or 1/2 cup of room temperature whole milk, 160 grams or 3/4 cup of unflavored vegetable oil, I use canola oil, 2.5 teaspoons of vanilla, and 190 grams or 1.5 cups of freshly grated zucchini. There is no need to blot the zucchini dry for this recipe, and then just mix that together using a whisk until it's well combined. Now next you want to add the pre-sifted dry ingredients from earlier to the wet ingredients, and then using a spatula gently fold until just combined. You don't want to overmix, so only mix until you can't see any more streaks of unmixed flour. Now to finish off the batter, you want to add in 100 grams or 1 cup of roughly chopped walnuts. You can use pecans too, but I prefer walnuts for this recipe. And again, fold that in gently using a spatula until just combined. Again, do not overmix. Okay, so that is our batter all done. So easy. Now you just want to pour this into our prepared cake pan from earlier. Now once all the batter is in, just give the tin a little shake just to kind of help even out the batter. And then you just want to drop the cake tin lightly on the counter once to remove any large air bubbles. And now this is ready to go into our preheated oven for 25 minutes. Or until a toothpick inserted into the center comes out clean or with a few moist crumbs on it. So my cake is all done now. It smells so incredible. I can really smell that cinnamon coming through. And now you just want to let this cool in the tin for about 20 minutes just to give it a little bit of time to firm up before running a thin knife along the edges of the pan that don't have any parchment paper, and then turning the cake out onto a wire rack to completely cool. Now the way that I like to do this is I just place the wire rack on top of the cake tin, hold the cake tin and wire rack together and flip it over, and the cake should just drop right out. Now this cake is super moist, especially when it's still warm, so just be careful when handling it because you don't want it to break. Now while this cake continues to cool, we're going to go ahead and make an easy, not too sweet cream cheese frosting to go on the top. So you want to start off by adding 112 grams or 1/2 cup of room temperature unsalted butter to a large bowl, and using a hand or stand mixer on a medium speed, you want to cream that for a few minutes until it's light and fluffy. If you're using a stand mixer, then you want to do this with the paddle attachment. Next, you want to add in 215 grams or 1 3/4 cups of powdered sugar in 2 batches, while mixing on a low speed just to make sure that your powdered sugar doesn't go everywhere, and you want to make sure that each batch is mixed in well before adding in the next. Now to finish off the frosting, you want to add in 167 grams or 3/4 cup of cold cream cheese. Just remember to use a firm cream cheese, not the spreadable type. 3/4 teaspoon of vanilla and 1 teaspoon of freshly squeezed lemon juice. And then just mix that in until it's well combined and everything is nice and smooth. You want to avoid overmixing because the more you mix, the softer your frosting is going to become. And then that is my super delicious cream cheese frosting all done. Now, once the zucchini cake is completely cool, we can go ahead and frost it with our cream cheese frosting. So to assemble this cake, you want to grab the serving plate that your cake is going to go on. Today, I'm just using a large tray, and then place it on top of the cake, and then hold the wire rack and tray together and flip the cake over. Now, you just want to put all of that frosting on the top and smooth it out with an offset spatula, or a blunt knife or the back of a tablespoon will do the trick as well. And then that is our super delicious zucchini cake all done. This zucchini cake is honestly one of the most moist cakes I've had. It has a wonderful spiced flavor from the cinnamon, has a super soft texture, and that cream cheese frosting just adds an extra touch of tang and sweetness to the cake. It is honestly so good. You honestly wouldn't expect a zucchini cake to taste this good. The combination of that, slightly tart cream cheese frosting with that warm, cozy, spiced zucchini cake just works together so well. If you've tried, like a carrot cake or spice cake with cream cheese frosting, it tastes really similar to that. So that is it for today, guys. If you do decide to give this delicious zucchini cake a go, then please do leave a review on my blog. It really helps my content out, and I absolutely love hearing from you guys. I'll see you in the next video.